So this Xbox only cost me about 2 Starbucks coffees. The only catch is that it didn't work when I bought it. So in a recent video where I fixed the PS1, I showed off the magic mystery box of consoles that I bought for $50 on Marketplace, and inside was an original Xbox, which was my original intended patient. However, after a lot of research, I realized that the previous owner had tried to repair it themselves, and unfortunately put an incompatible power supply inside, and so that one has to be shelved until I can either find other parts, or until I Frankenstein something together, which I have an idea in the works, so subscribe to see if that works out or not. So while in the process for hunting for parts for that Xbox, I came across this one, which was a dirt cheap price, 4 parts, not working. And this one looked to actually be in better physical shape, so that's nice. So I went ahead and snagged it thinking I can at least cobble together these 2 Xboxes to hopefully make at least one working OG Xbox. So I got it home and cracked it open, and it turned out to be an Xbox version 1.6B, which if you don't know, that is the most recent version that Microsoft created before discontinuing the Xbox original and coming out with the 360. Which is really funny because that is the only version of Xbox that the first power supply works for. So now I have 2 1.6 power supplies and 1 1.6 motherboard, so I guess we better make sure that board is good, right? And it sure as heck was not. You could probably spot from a mile away these 5 big blown capacitors that are super corroded and dead. So the next obvious step was to hop on AliExpress and order these 5 massively sized capacitors and wait the 4 weeks for them to get to me.
Hello darkness, my old friend, I've come to talk with you again.
Finally, they arrived and it was time to begin the surgery. The dead caps came off with relative ease, or at least I thought, until later when I tried to clear out all the old solder, and I took way too long messing with my soldering iron settings until I realized that there were a few tiny little bits of the leg left from the old caps still in the holes, but thankfully once I realized that, it was a pretty easy fix of just using a safety pin and some pliers to carefully poke the rest out to clear a way for the new ones. I decided to help myself out with the new cap installation by getting them in place and then securing them with some electrical tape. That way I could safely flip the board over and they wouldn't fall out as I started to solder them in. I'm definitely still a student of soldering, and even I could spot that my solder joints were a bit cold and maybe not the best, but the multimeter said they were cool, so I figured why not plug it in, give it a test, and then we'll adjust based on what seems to be the problem from there. Being in that mindset, I was actually pretty dumbfounded when I went to hit the power button and saw green and yellow flashing lights.
Oh my gosh!
So I quickly plugged in the media cable and saw the beautiful flubber bouncing on the screen. Before I knew it, I was riding that high with the other half of the shell in hand, ready to reassemble it and get it back to its former glory, when I heard Matt Casey's Aussie voice in my head reminding me to swap out the CPU and GPU thermal paste that is about 2 decades old and probably not doing anyone any good. Thankfully that didn't take long, and finally I could reassemble it and get it back to looking like a sleek, stock, original Xbox from its 2004 glory. And of course, what's there to do next except for surprise your wife with an impromptu game of Shrek 2, which honestly we played longer than I expected to. I'm super excited to have a working original Xbox in the house, as I plan to use the new Rocky 5 soft mod that came out this year that doesn't require a specific game to do the soft mod, and that way I can get the rest of my collection running on the hard drive without the need to load discs, try out some homebrew, get a custom dashboard going, and all that good stuff. Be sure to subscribe to catch that one when it rolls out, by the way. That's all for this week. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.